Cock-a-doodle-doo. It's your boy, Handcuffs and Keys, CEO, Captain, Lieutenant, Sergeant. CEO is where I first started from with my brother. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my brother.
What up, world? It's your boy Hootie Hoo, Kenny Tramble, man. CEO Shave and a Haircut podcast on Tuesdays. Like I always say, like and share. Like and share. Like it and share.
Hey, you know what I got to say about that, but I ain't gonna say it no more.
Cream, I need the money. Dollar bill, y'all.
Handle your victory, brother. Handle your victory.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, y'all, today we're going to be talking about the role of a father. Whoa. The role of a father. Now, we're going to talk about our own pop first before we start getting into some subjects on that.
The sponsor is instead of being State Farm, it's Late Farm. Like a good neighbor, a father's never there.
Hey, nah, I ain't got nothing to do with that. All you fathers that ain't never been there, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
That's a joke.
Matter of fact, he didn't even tell me he was gonna do that. He just threw that one in there. So hey, all you handicapped fathers, when I say handicapped, I mean the ones that can do something but don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. Y'all listen up. Well, we talking about y'all.
Yeah.
All right, that was a good one though, brother. Can we hear from that sponsor one more time? Who our sponsor is?
Instead of State Farm, it's Late Farms. Like a good neighbor, a father's never there. Yeah.
Ooh, show you right.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. He got my eyes watered a little bit because they caught me off guard. Okay, so let's talk about the roles of a father.
Okay.
And one of the roles, and that's pretty much this first one. That's how I feel about my boys, and it's being the protector.
Okay.
Okay. So when I say protector of my boys from harm, from some things that are good, because he needs to know the bad in order to know how good the good is. Mm-hmm. So the role that you play as a father is something, and it's unique because a lot of people, let me go back. Mother's Day is the most celebrated day of all the holidays, including Christmas, including Thanksgiving, filling your stomach up. Father's Day is next to last.
Well, and rightfully so, man, because mamas, they on point, and no matter what happens to you, we like I said, we like a good neighbor.
Hey, I would say it like this, boo boo. And the mothers, they deserve that, because to me, 99.9% of the mothers out there are doing an excellent job. It's just that 1%.
Yeah.
That don't give a damn about their kids.
Right.
But then you flip it with the fathers. You got 99% don't give a damn, don't want to pay, realize they ain't got to pay because they buying clothes, and it don't work like that. When you pay child support, it's for the wife or your spouse or your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend, or these days your ex-boyfriend. It's for them to take care of their child, and they can use their money by any means necessary.
Right.
And you got to accept that.
Right.
You have to accept that. So one of the roles as a father is don't worry about the child support money they're getting. Still go get their kids. Still go spend time with their kids. Still spend money on their kids. Right. You're still supposed to do things like that. And that's one of the things I was talking about as protecting.
Right.
It goes in the provider category, but a protector also, because I'm protecting my investment, which is my child.
Right.
Because if you think about it, you put more money in your child than you gonna put in that car in your driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got 18 years to spend money. You really do.
Yeah.
So you want to add anything on the protector?
Well, sometimes I think sometimes fathers when it comes down to protecting things, you know, with this generational gap of kids and the way they're being reared up, it's not like the way we were reared up. And sometimes our protection to them seems to be overprotected. But we walk that walk. We've been in their shoes. We see the traps, and they act like they don't want to listen to those traps that are out there for a parent. So those parents, man, I'm an advocate of being a protector. You know, I ain't got nothing but daughters, so you know that's gonna be my forever thing, protecting these girls. And so they have to. We as our generation, parents, we got to. I guess we have to kind of treat them a little differently, if that makes sense. Because one thing I do know about E, but that's my boy Eric and DJ. They down in Texas, but E's mom says I'm too hard on him. Says that, you know, you treat the girl different than you treat the boys. Well, of course, you're supposed to. There ain't no doubt in my mind. That's a boy. So a boy's got several things he got to deal with. And one thing it is, he is very inquisitive, and he's always want to ask why. So for me, my protection him and let him know that, look, man, everything will have to be a question. But he gets to the point where he gets mad and then it blows up. But I see it coming before it happens. So I always try to tell him that, but she keeps saying that I'm being tough on him. And I don't think that's being tough. I think that's just showing that young man about, you know, the path that he's taking. If he keeps taking that same path, he's doing the same thing, where it's going to lead him. On the girl's hand, of course, you know, now you got to deal with the boys. So I'm going to be overprotective of that because, you know, I see the tricks. I see the word finagles that they be trying to use these girls and say crazy stuff and get their mind wrong. And so I love being a protector when it comes down to them girls. It's hard with that boy because the boy thinks I'm being too hard on, but really trying to teach him what's going on in life. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And that leads me to the next one, which is the disciplinarian. The ones that lay in that paddle, lay in that belt.
We don't have that no more.
Okay, so what do we have now?
I mean, I hadn't seen, you know, lately. I give you an example. You remember when we were growing up back in the days, and my mom, your mom, you take her to the store and she tell us don't do this, don't do that, or else, or even when we was in church, and you used to get that staff from the choir stand, you know what that meant, and you got it. Now these parents, the only thing they do is just bluff them. They bluff and they take away stuff like, you know, game systems and stuff, but they give it right back to them. So basically, the discipline is different, man, and they're not doing what needs to be done, because if you don't discipline before they go to school, they have a problem in school,
right?
And so they're not doing it as parents no more. Matter of fact, most parents come up to the school and ask you what you did to my child. So it's hard. I'm serious, man. You know, and they do it with the kids standing there. So how can you discipline somebody and you acting a fool right then and now? Or they send stuff to the parents at school. My mama said, I can't do this here. So discipline, you know, it starts at home. So you can tell me my child don't act like this at home, but why does he act like that at school? Something's going on. He started somewhere. He didn't start it at school. But they say he don't act like this at home. So it's all about that we can't, now the parents can't put them hands on no more, man, because they're afraid of going to jail. Okay. Now back in our day, you know, Hot wheel track, shoe, switch, card, belt. Whatever mama saw, she used. And it worked. And it worked. Yeah. Look at all of us. Look at all of us. There's not one person here in our family that you can say, well, and that sure didn't work on them. It worked. And we got that's a discipline we got to get back to. I ain't talking about beating them like that. You know, remember you you'd be late on the hallway, get them 2 pops of that paddle, you went to class, right?
Yeah.
That was it. It wasn't like he was trying to play baseball. 2 good pops, pow, pow, get to class. Work for about 15 seconds, you in class.
Yes, indeed.
So we missing that discipline that they need. Because we definitely, if we don't get it back, we're going to lose these generational kids. Because right now, they spazzing out.
Man, every time we done had a festival, a teenager done died and then got shot.
Right.
Not beat to death.
Right.
But they got shot. Now, Lord knows I don't want to beat somebody to death either. But in other words, when I say that, they not throwing hands and the winner is the winner.
That's right.
They shooting and the winner is going to jail. Is what's happening now.
Sure is.
Yeah, the winner is going to jail. So, I mean, it is what it is. But we got to provide that emotional security. And when I say emotional security, I mean, if you have a child they just lost the championship game, you provide them with emotional security. You go over there, give them a hug, you give them some quotes, you give them stuff that uplift them.
Yeah.
We don't have that going on either.
No.
Because 9 times out of 10, it ain't nobody at that game but their mama.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not even taught it. It's not being taught at any level. Pee Wee League.
No.
None of that.
No. So you're right about that.
You're absolutely right, because we're gonna do a event the 3rd at our ULM. We're calling it Pro Day with Boys and Girls Club, and man, it's gonna be an event with I think it's 3rd grade through 8th grade kids. All I told me and the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club talk, and I told, man, let this be about fun. Not about X's and O's, just fun. Let's get out there, learn some stuff, but have fun with it. We ain't talking about all that yelling and hollering and cussing, none of that.
Right.
We want them kids to have the best time of their life, and you're gonna be on ULM football field, so that should give you an experience of a lifetime. The actual field that they play on.
Right.
We want them to have fun. We don't want none of that craziness going on. And see, and we got to get this back to where it needs to be. And so if you get the kids to start having fun like that, and then when you say when they lose the game, then you got the compassion component that's going to be given out by the coach. Hey, we can't win them all. They can't better prepared than we were. We'll get them next year.
Okay.
Go shake their hands. Be proud of what you did. We made your championship. Okay, we beat a lot of other teams.
That's right.
Just didn't beat this team. Can't win them all. Boy, would I love to won? Yes, I would have. Would I have loved to have my hand raised with the championship trophy to run up? Yes, I would have. But at the end of the day, it's still a game. That's all you got to do.
Somebody got to win, and somebody got to lose.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep. And that's all. That also goes in with teaching values, what you just said.
Yeah.
It sure does. You're teaching the values of winning and losing.
Yeah.
Working as a team.
You got some of them that want to shake hands because they done learned that. Excuse me. They done learned that from their coach. Not shaking hands, walking up the end of the game. All that is being taught now to little bitty kids.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's being taught little, then it's gonna go in their mind always till they get to high school. So that you gotta have it. You gotta have it regardless.
I agree. All right, well, let's roll with that financial support, something that most men don't want to worry about. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to worry about that at all.
I think it's not. Well, I think it's not. Majority of the time, they want more. So they kind of feel like if I paid $375 a kid, I should be allowed to come over there and get my kid when I get ready. Do this when I get ready. Or buy it now. Here's what most African American men do. They want to call themselves buying stuff and saying that's child support. It is. It is.
By definition, it is.
But supporting a kid is supporting a kid regardless. Just because I bought some Jordan one day, don't mean I'm through doing anything else for that whole month.
Right.
Just because I bought a school uniform, I mean, I bought the uniform, you do the rest. And that's the problem. And I know sometimes, women, they really, I wouldn't say misuse funds, but I would say not do what they need to do with it. And I know child support is like, even when you paying the light, water, gas with that money, that's still supporting the child.
Right.
But just imagine if a woman had a job that could use that money to save it for a college fund for that child. So we got to stop thinking. Women got to stop thinking, okay, that's what that money's for, pay light, water, and gas. Like the long game. Okay? Because you after 18 years, that's over with.
Mm-hmm.
Now what you got? Just imagine you had a job and you saved that $375 per child, and you had 4 child for 18 years. You save even if you save $70 out of that $375, you save $75 out of that $375 out of those 4 kids for 18 years.
Or you can say 100, and that's $1,200 a year times 8. Yep. That's $9,600.
Yeah.
And if it was going in the bank, there would be interest added to it.
Yeah, but that's one child. I'm talking about for 3 child.
That's what I'm saying. That's one child. So right. You do that with the interest times 3. That's probably about $35,000.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point. Now, you only did this at 8. I said 18 years.
Yeah, you did. I did 10 years.
Yeah.
So you can add another 8 to that. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's plenty change.
Yeah, that's a surplus that you can use in case your child does go to college and needs some money for books. He might need a little extra money for that. First car. Think about it the long way, but most women, when they get their child support, they don't do it like that. And I understand sometimes, and that they feel like I don't know if you get more money if you don't work. I don't know how that works no more because I ain't been on child support in probably, good God, about 20 years now. And I don't know. I don't know if you don't work. I know you don't get a lot. You work. I mean, you get a lot if you don't work. If you work, I think they cut it off for some type of way. So they feel like they don't need to work so they can get more money.
Right.
You're actually hindering the dad because now he can only do so much. He can only pay the child support, and then he can't come around and do other stuff because he got to take care of the business.
Right.
So that's another problem they run into. That's one of the problems my ex ran into. She wanted to put me on that, and so all of a sudden, I can only do what they told me to do because I couldn't do the other stuff no more. Because it handicapped me the way I needed to do my money.
Right.
I can spend it. They want their money right in and there, and they're gonna take it out of your account. But if you working right with the right woman, she'd be okay. Well, okay, I tell you what, this is what I need done. So then I can finagle more. I could give them more.
Right.
But not when they taking it out of your account and they pulling it out, they drafting it out. You can't do it the way no more.
Right.
So that financial stuff is a tricky one when it comes down to between male and a female. Because sometimes they use it for different stuff instead of the right stuff.
Well, did you know that the city, let's say you married and you have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you know when that divorce is final, that's automatic child support payments? They don't even have to go to the city to apply.
What you talking about?
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened with me. That's what happened with me. I was paying child support on my own.
Yeah.
Every month. I was paying $1,000 every month is what I was paying. Yeah. Well, when the divorce was final, I got my check and it was $1,000 short. No, it wasn't $1,000 short. Matter of fact, it was $1,200 short. And I went to HR, and HR told me before I got my check stub, hey, that's the child support. We got it written in. We got a court order. Child support. I said, my ex had put me on child support, so I called it, and she said, "No, I didn't put you on child support." So I asked HR, "Do they have that number?" I called that number, and they the ones told me it's automatic when you have a divorce to go on child support. Automatic. They said the spouse doesn't even have to put you on there. You got kids and y'all are divorced, you paying child support. And then I researched one and found out why. Do you know every person they put on child support, they get grants from the government, get money from the government?
Yeah.
They sure do.
Yeah,
and that's the reason. Yeah, they get money. They get grants.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that crap, man. But, I was paying it before. I had to pay a little bit more afterwards, but, it is what it is. That's what the state, that's what the law requires. So.
Right, when you was in Texas?
Yeah. Yeah. When I was in Texas.
I know in Louisiana, they the way they do it is if the person's on getting, I think, food stamps or whatever you call the other kind of money, they automatically put you on there too. You have to put them on there.
Yeah, I know that's in Texas too.
Yeah, and so
yeah. Sure,
that just, I don't know, man. Catch 22.
Yeah, it is what it is, bro. So we'll move on to that next one, and that's being a role model. That's what you're going to do down there at ULM campus.
Yeah,
you set the example.
Yeah, so I feel every young male, even female, but mostly young male, really need somebody that they can relate to. That they can call at a drop of a dime. Somebody that's gonna motivate every time you turn around. Somebody that's not gonna criticize you for making mistakes. Somebody's gonna make them. Somebody's gonna say, "Hey, we know we made it. Here's what we gotta do to fix it."
Right.
If you don't have that person, as strong as this, you find one. Because that molds the young men around here. That's why most of these ones running around here right now, and I take that back. They do find people, but it'd be the wrong people to motivate.
Right.
You got to find the right motivator.
You do.
Because you can find that wrong one to get you out there and motivate you to do something you ain't got no business. Motivate you to selling drugs, motivate you to shooting somebody, motivate you skipping school, motivate you talking back to your parents. All that stuff could happen. You find the wrong motivator. So you got to find that right one for sure.
Yep. Got to find that right. And sometimes it's not at home.
No. I say 85% of the time it's not at home.
Yeah.
Because mom work all the time. Or dad. Or like I said, every kid I talk to say they can't talk to their mom and dad because they don't understand.
Right.
And so now who you go to? You go to your local counselor, teacher at school, or Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, football coach. Find you somebody. It's people out there you can talk to help you, might help motivate you, especially when you got issues. Because if you start getting depressed, you know what happens after that.
Oh yeah, and we definitely don't want that to happen.
That's right.
Yeah. Definitely don't want that to happen.
Yeah, that's one of the worst fears to be able to have the opportunity to fix somebody and change somebody's life, and I miss it because I didn't get a chance to talk to them. And now you got to wonder, will that conversation we had, will that fix the problem that they had? Right.
I can dig that, brother.
So we got to keep that. We got to keep that in mind. Everybody out there on Facebook, find you somebody in your neighborhood. It's kids everywhere. Find you one. Groom them and talk to them. Show them the right ropes. Show them the best way right. If you got successful business, show them how you did it. If you're smart in school, show them how you got smart.
That's right.
You got to get out there. They say each one teach one. Basically, what you got to do. Grab one and teach them.
You're right.
And this got to be your child. If your child already got it, we'll get you somebody else.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, then. So we're gonna talk about showing that unconditional love. So what do I mean by unconditional love? I don't mean being a pushover. You know, if you're gonna show unconditional love, you're gonna show it to all your kids.
Yeah.
You want to show it to all your kids.
Yeah.
And that's something that I did with Jacob, Javante, and Jalen.
Yeah.
Unconditional love, because that's something special. When they see that, they want to emulate that. They want to repeat that. They want to duplicate that. They want to be the person and see how it feels to do that to someone, because it's a feeling inside that I can't explain, because I know I feel good when I do what I do with my boys.
Yeah.
Money-wise, time-wise, playing basketball. Old as I am, to this day, when my boys come and visit me, we go to the basketball court. I'm 56 and still out there playing basketball with them. I can't move like I used to, but I'll play with them just to let them know, hey, we had good times when you were young. We're going to have good times when I'm old. As long as I'm here.
That's it.
And that goes with that spending quality time with your children.
Right.
Because that's the next one. So I'm going to let you talk about spending quality time with your children.
That's key. Because when that happens, there you got to make sure, because that meant that time you don't, like I said in the previous thing, stuff happens. And spending quality time is not just, like you said, it's not just buying stuff for them. Sometimes like Uno night. We do Uno night now, since the cheetah on the other to the left or right of you.
Hey man, leave your wife alone.
So now we start Uno night. So Uno night, man, it's a time when you sitting there playing, but during that Uno night, we having conversation.
Right.
It's a game, but the conversation piece starts talking. What's going on, what's happening, how you feeling, anything you need, something going on we need to talk about. So I strongly suggest that each parent find something that y'all like and have a night of it. Like you said, you out there on the basketball court. Same thing. Doing that basketball court, you shoot around, you turn it into a talking scenario.
Right.
I've took kids out to the golf course, and I call it the 18 holes of life. Basically, what I mean by that is you're 18 years old, right? It's 18 holes in golf. So what I would normally do is I find the easiest holes 1 through 5. Then once you start to get 6, 7, you go to those tougher holes, because now things are changing. You got some hills, you got some valleys, you got some roughs. So by the time you're 18, that's the hardest hole, because that's the hole where you're supposed to be. You think you're grown, but you're gonna make mistakes. So that's the hardest hole. That's hitting it over the water. So if you don't make it over the water, you fall in the water. That means you have to fall and step back.
Right.
So I use that golf course to teach a kid how life can be from 1 to 18.
Right.
And so it works out pretty good, because when we do the course, we don't do the hole. We do the course. We don't do it in order. I find the easiest holes first, and then I get to the hardest holes. I get to the last hole, which is the toughest hole. And you trying to make that on that toughest 18 hole, you got to do what? You got to read the green. That means you got to read the life. You got to read life. You got the wind blowing. You got to check what's going on. So it allows the kid to understand that you got 18 holes of life. You got 18 years to get it right.
That's pretty good.
So I use that too.
That's pretty good. Well, all right, bro, we got like 1 minute left. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let you get the last note. All right, the father's role is a role model. His actions, his words, and his attitude influence a child's development.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to let you have the last word on that.
And in closing to that, man, every parent, every father always wanted a son, right?
Right.
You always want that one to pass down the family name, or somebody just to carry the torch.
Right.
And if you on here and you're a father, one thing you don't want to do is neglect any of your kids. No matter what goes on between you and that spouse. You gotta want that kid to know he can come to you at any time. We had a students versus police at Swades Elementary. We played the kids for they got tested next week, so we went out there and had fun and played with the kids. But what made me so happy was it was 6 dads out there with their kids, And that's a first. I ain't gonna lie to you. We've been playing with these kids for years. It's always been the moms come out. Actually, for the first time, I've seen 6 dads out there playing with their kids. And you look on those kids' face to see they dad playing defense on them was priceless. Because that's what we don't normally see in the African American neighborhood. So I'm encouraging everybody on the line, especially if you're a father, you got a problem with trying to get in that child life, try your best, man. Try your best to get in there some kind of way. I don't care if you got a tutor at the school or be a substitute teacher. Find a way to get in there so you can get that young man or young lady to understand who you are and start teaching them the values that they need. Because they need it, 100%.
You can tell all you got to do is look at TV.
That's it.
That's all you got to do. It's always a kid shooting a kid for some reason.
And then like the shooting in Ruston, that was family members.
That's even worse.
That's even worse. You can't get along with your own family. That's what happened in Ruston. But yes, sir. I appreciate this one. That's a pretty good one.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was some pretty good comments coming from you, brother. That's really good.
Vice versa, bro. It is what it is. Like I said, like it and share it.
You heard what he said?
Cha-ching.
Yeah, I think that means dollar bill, y'all.
Yeah, subscribe to our channel. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all.
It's your boy, CEO Captain Lieutenant Sergeant, handcuffs and keys with my brother Kid, a travel CEO, the shave and the haircut. We gonna holler at y'all. You heard?
The best part of waking up is putting money in my cup. You know what I'm saying?
All right, where's Kid? Let me get out of here.